Hi folks, so today's video is going to be about dynamic figure drawing, especially with one or more figures to create a really dynamic composition. Okay, so let's get started. First and foremost, you want to have a sketch about more or less what the idea is going to be about in a small thumbnail version. Okay, so here let's have a little quick thumbnail sketch about what it is we want this figure to look like, or at the end. So let's say we're going to do multi-figurative composition. Let's say we'll have one figure here, let's say maybe fighting another figure. So even though these are like stick figures, we can sort of more or less get an idea of what, at least in a very, very, very basic manner, it's going to look like. And then let's do like a little quick horizon line. Okay, I don't know if you guys can see that really quick sketch. So then I'm going to move on to a larger scale version of that. So I'm going to block in and have my very generic stick figure-esque figures. I'm going to change this figure a little bit. Let's get him a little more active. Get the line of action to flow a little bit more, so it's a bit of a sense of contrast as well as a bit of dynamic composition. So it's a larger stick figure on our bottom here. Let's see if we can change the angle a little bit. Drop it down a little bit. Okay. And we're going to now put in, where we had these generic figures, more of a costume, I guess, if you will. So let's say this person's wearing a shirt. I'm going to flesh this out a little bit more. Person has an arm out here. Let's have them waving a weapon of some sort, I guess. Let's do a good old generic pipe. We have a hand crossing over. And then let's do just some generic, without getting into any real super detail, but just really creating placement and form of some of this figure's generic body. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing with the second figure. I'm going to start with this arm first because I really want this to have a little foreshortening. So the arm's kind of tucked back. For foreshortening, really important to get those overlaps to sell the figure as having one form coming across the other. And this person's head is going to be slightly tilted. So its axis will be more like that. Okay. And I'm going to arch the back a little bit. Again, nothing too specific, no real super detail. This leg's going to be kicking back a little bit, so it's going to be getting a little bit larger and longer as we go forward to us to push the sense of one form in front of another. And maybe we don't see that other arm. Now when it comes to feet, see if we can get this down a little bit more. Even at this stage, we're just going to do sort of generic placement, and then we'll go back and finesse it. Okay, so now we've fleshed out, we've gone from the quick sketch to a more stylized but solid form. And then I guess you can go at this point to look for, we're going to do a couple more blocking in of our values. So let's say light is coming from above. And it's going to be lighting these figures. So anything on this side, anything on that side, is going to have some value. Anything on this side is going to have more of the light. Alright, so that means, and this you could do as a generic blocking out. All of this might actually be in shadow. Then you could create even further more space, give these folks a horizon line. Or maybe they're in an alleyway. And then they're going to cast some shadows. And then you could go back, once these generics have been figured out, you can go back and really look for a stronger sense of detail. Stronger sense of line. maybe a little bit more finessing with respect to values. Okay, so that's a very quick way that we can go from the sketch stage to the finished or close to finished drawing, and then we'll do another one with a more complicated setting. Okay?